Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Mike here for Hail Mary Meteorology. Today's February 6th, 2026. It's Friday, right before the weekend here. We're going to start this morning with the weather portion of the briefing and then transition to how weather is going to impact the major sporting events, at least according to me. And let's just go ahead and jump to the satellite imagery this morning. And here's that low deepening off the eastern seaboard. This is the system that produced a little light frozen precipitation. We saw the winter weather advisories out for portions of eastern North Carolina yesterday. That's continuing to move offshore. And that's giving way now to this next polar vortex and shot of Arctic air that's going to be around this weekend. Might even be the coldest air of the winter across northeastern sections of the country. You can see a little bit of cloud cover. This is some bursts of light snow here. And then behind the frontal boundary here, look, there's not a cloud to speak of. That's all the Arctic air that's going to funnel southward here. Meanwhile, out over the Pacific Ocean, this is that little upper low from yesterday that we saw offshore. It's moving and kind of fading out as it approaches the northwest. We're not expecting any precipitation with it, but it is beginning to knock upper level heights across the northwest. And then that's going to give way to this massive upper low over the Pacific Ocean. You can see the stream of moisture already gathering up over the Pacific. That's going to take a beeline for the northwest, and it's going to be kind of a rainy weekend. So the radar imagery this morning, you can see the bursts of heavy snow just passed through Indianapolis, arriving into Cincinnati, Columbus. This activity, it's pretty enhanced on radar. Don't expect maybe a possible maybe an inch or two burst of snow across the region. That'll continue to move towards Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, and the central Appalachians. And then behind it, you can already see some of the lake effect snow beginning. There's a couple really well-defined bands coming off Lake Superior in the UP of Michigan. Anywhere downwind of the Great Lakes, you can expect lake effect snow for the next 24 hours. Did want to mention, I saw something on social media yesterday. I actually posted it on my X account at MushWX, that 96% of Lake Erie is frozen with ice. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. It's almost obviously 100%. Anyhow, that's quite remarkable. So that could actually curtail lake effect snow amounts in northeastern Ohio and northwest Pennsylvania. So the current watches and warnings across the country, I really wanted to focus just on the eastern U.S. The dark blue here is extreme cold warnings. So we're talking New York State, Pennsylvania, into northern New Jersey and southern New England. It includes Philadelphia, New York City, and the major metropolitan areas, and that's expected to produce cold air all throughout the weekend. The purple areas, winter weather advisories, and then you get into the central Appalachians. These are where we have winter storm warnings. The brown and gold areas, these are high wind warnings across the mid-Atlantic, includes Baltimore, D.C., and then the wind advisories extend all the way down towards western North Carolina and even into my neck of the woods in South Carolina, that we could see wind advisories for later today into tomorrow. So here's a look at the temperatures across the country this morning, and one of the focus, it's already cold in the east. Here's the Arctic air mass to the north of the border. Temperatures already well below zero, negative teens, negative 20s. That's all going to funnel south and the east, and that's what's going to be arriving this weekend for the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. So let's take a real quick look at, this is just the operational GFS. We're just going to go out through Monday morning here. But you can see basically the snowfall that we already saw affecting southward here as we move out 24 hours. This is Saturday morning. Look at the, excuse me, sorry about that. Look at the cold advection here. Look at these tight isobars. This is due northerly flow. Ton of Arctic air funneling into the northeast. I mean, this, you can see why it's going to be so windy across the region. And with that low moving off, a low is going to develop off the mid-Atlantic coast, move away, but you can see this little area of low pressure here extending northward. That's actually an inverted trough. We could see maybe a little enhanced snowfall in the Boston area for tomorrow. The rain chances begin to approach the Pacific Northwest Saturday morning. And then as we arrive into Sunday, that advances downstream into the northern Rockies. And there's still a little bit of onshore flow moving into Oregon and approaching Northern California. Just want to take a quick glance at Sunday evening here at 66 hours. The Super Bowl looks okay right now. Precipitation chances are very low. What's happening here is the heavier precipitations to the north of Northern California and Oregon. I'll have more on the Super Bowl here in a few minutes. And then by Monday morning, you can see precipitation overall pretty light across the country. Some warm advection snow across the upper Great Lakes. And the moisture that advances into the northwest arrives into the northern Rockies here. So these are the National Weather Service forecast high temperatures for Saturday. You can see basically from Minneapolis all the way down to Richmond in the 20s. And as you move northward into the Great Lakes and northeastern portion of the country, we're talking teens and single digits. And then on Sunday, that cool air reaches the northeastern seaboard, and we're talking about maybe 21 around New York, 17 in Boston, 20 in Pittsburgh. So it's going to be a really, really frigid air mass. And with that moisture arriving into the northwest, the anomalous long wave ridge advances into the plains. And you can see how warm temperatures are going to be around Dallas, stretching all the way up into the northern plains. In fact, Houston and Dallas, upper 70s, are almost flirting with 80-degree weather. National Weather Service forecasts snow over the next 3 days. You could see with that burst of heavy snow, we're talking maybe an inch or two around Cincinnati. As we head over to Charleston, West Virginia, an inch or two. Pittsburgh, maybe up to 2 inches. And the heaviest snow is going to be the upslope orographic lift snow through the central Appalachians. We're talking potentially a chance of 5 to 10 inches of snow here. The lake effect snowfall downwind of the Great Lakes here, of all the lakes from Superior down to Erie and Ontario. And then with that inverted trough, you could see the snowfall amounts have increased a little bit around the Boston area. I think we were talking about 2 inches yesterday. We might see maybe 3 to 5 inches for portions of southeastern New England. QPF over the next 3 days here. Obviously with the Clipper, it's moisture starved, so we're not seeing a ton of liquid precipitation. But out over the Pacific Northwest, the northwest corridor of the country, along the coast into the Cascades, we're talking maybe about 1 to 2.5 inches of rain. And some of this in the Cascades, and especially in the northern Rockies, that could be mostly snow. So I wanted to end up here. This is from the National Weather Prediction Service, part of the NOAA and the National Weather Service. This is the departure of normal for precipitation across the western United States for the past month. You know, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had that big dome of high pressure over the western U.S. Look at the northwest into Northern California and the Sierra. We're talking about as much as 5 inches to even more than that below normal precipitation. And obviously that's pretty significant. This is usually their wet season in the northwest and parts of California. And in the rest of the west, not as significant of a departure from normal. but you could see the entire western United States has been abnormally dry over the past month here. And I think this is really an effective graphic because over the east we've had those two major snow events, the deep upper trough, the cooled air. Out west, it's kind of a forgotten story of how dry it's been and how warm it's been. And so that's it for the weather portion of the briefing. And now we're going to go ahead and transition to where weather meets with sports. So if you joined me the last couple days, to me, the big sporting events are obviously the Super Bowl, which is 2 days away, the PGA Tour in Arizona, and then Live Golf in Saudi Arabia. And let's jump to the Super Bowl. So the high temperature remains about 66 degrees on Sunday. Prior to kickoff, the temperature is going to be about 60s. Winds remain light. You can see rain remains below 10%. The potential continues to drop. Yesterday it was 13%. Now it's 9%. The sky cover continues to fluctuate. I think 4 days ago it was in the 70s. Then yesterday I think it was down in the 20s or 30s. Back up to 66. There's still some uncertainty how far south that precipitation to the north and cloud cover to the south, the cloud cover, whether it reaches there. During the course of the game, temperatures will begin to fall into the 50s. Overall, great conditions for the Super Bowl here. And now, why am I picking the Seattle Seahawks? I wanted to show this little graphic. Let's start with the secondary. Both New England and Seattle have great young secondaries. I mean, New England's got Christian Gonzalez. Meanwhile, Seattle's got Devin Witherspoon. We'll have to watch the twisted ankle the other day of Emawari, the rookie there for Seattle, if that's a concern or not. Linebacker, I call it even. Defensive line, I call even. The offensive line, I still continue to favor Seattle. I think Will Campbell could be a liability for New England's offensive line. Tight end, even. Wide receiver, how could you go against Jackson Smith and Jigba, the offensive player of the year in the NFL? Running back, I'm calling even now with the injury to Charbonnet, as I mentioned the other day with the ACL. It's going to fall all on Kenneth Walker, and then meanwhile you got Stevenson and Henderson for New England. So that's a pretty even matchup. And the quarterbacks, they've both been playing great this past year. Drake May losing by a vote to Matthew Stafford on the MVP, and then Sam Darnold, I think, really proved himself in the NFC Championship game. I'm going to call that even. I think it's a really close game, but due to Seattle, being a little bit stronger at wide receiver and offensive line, I'm going to go Seattle 23-17. And now let's move to the PGA Tour in Arizona. It's in Scottsdale. And what a first round there. The leaderboard's actually pretty impressive. Let's see here. I had it up. So Chris Gotterup, who was red hot towards the end of last year on the PGA Tour, is at -8. And then a shot back was Matthew Fitzpatrick. He had like a unbelievable front nine yesterday. I think it was like 29. It's good to see he's back in form. And then 3 shots back were 2 young guys, Nikolai Højgaard and Thorn Bjornsson. So it should be a really exciting event. Now the weather, it's going to remain partly to mostly sunny, and temperatures, I tell you, it's going to be a really stellar weekend for all the great fans there in Phoenix. We're looking at average temperatures of about 81, and you can follow my buddy Jim Nance and Trevor Immelman and the CBS Golf team this weekend for coverage. And now let's move to Live Golf, and they're in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh, and they're playing at night. They've got these big lights shining down on the golf course. It's pretty entertaining, but anyhow, Temperatures during the overnight hours, low 60s, maybe even flirting with the upper 50s. Most of the guys have been wearing sweaters and hoodies and stuff like that. If you noticed in yesterday's coverage, the winds were a little bit more problematic. I can't win with that. They were gusting maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour. I keep that in mind again for the round this morning on the eastern seaboard. And so there was a three-way tie at -10, included the first round leaders Peter Uihlein and Thomas Dietrich, and Taylor Gooch, the new captain of Smash GC, was there. And then at -9, a shot back, was a core of four golfers: John Rahm, Sebastian Munoz, Jason Kokrak, and the young Elvis Smiley. So that should be a really entertaining tournament over the next 2 days here. So that's all I really have for you this morning. I probably won't be back till Monday, and we'll talk to you guys then.